here. Are you in? Yes. All right, and we're gonna lower this. As you can see, it starts to tilt. For that purpose, there's this. So let's see where we can lift it up here. So it stays pretty much perpendicular or parallel to the table. So that one seems pretty good. I'm going to lower it, but I'm not going to take the chain off, just in case the engine slips and we don't have an injury. Now I'm just going to bring the table in. Wrong direction. Just like that. It's fine. Just keep going in. There. Let's slip again. More. Nope. All right. Stay there. Not moving too much. Shouldn't be sliding. There. It's going to go there. Now we're going to lift on the table. Hopefully the chain will fit. Yeah.
Let's go here?
Mm-hmm.
Get here,
All right. Back to this. All right. So these two, the engine is going to be lifted and propped against those. So it hold on. We're going to wedge the engine between the platform, or the bar actually, and this. Just to put this tiny bit up here. Right, the engine block is fixed. The chain we can take off. Hopefully we can get the chain out. Great, we're able to get the chain out of there. All right. Now we can take this away.
You want this one?
All right, that's out of our way. So, our next thing is going to be loosen up the table. Let's move the head out of the way. How come you're not moving? Not liking this. Okay, loosen some more. it's nice and clean. All right. So next thing, we're gonna have to pick some tools. By this time, you should know the size of your cylinder and the size you're actually going to use. Excuse me. Inside the kit, you will find multiple things. Number one, micrometer designed for the specific setup. Number two is going to be 3 of each of these pins. So, I'll be back in a moment because I actually don't even know the size of this cylinder. So, one moment. All right, so our new piston size for this particular engine is going to be 3-inch, 445 thousandths. So we're going to machine a little bit. We're going to machine 1/1000th below piston diameter, so we can hone it out to a proper size. All right, so we know it's 3-inch. So step one is going to be adjust the fixture into the first hole we're going to be boring. So, as I was saying, these little pins are designed for different sizes to center the machine. So I'm going to move this whole thing off to the side so it's not on the machine. And we're going to move this. As you'll notice, it's nice and free. So let's take a look. So these are 3-inch dowels. There's 2 ends. One is sharp, one is dull. So the sharp end goes in. That goes in. Rotated. Another one goes in. Rotated. Third one goes in. So what this will allow us to do is at the top of the machine, there is a knob. As you tighten this knob, the pins will spread. As you loosen this knob, the pin will recess back into the machine. So that's what I'm going to do next. Let's give it a try. So it seems like the machine was completely at its maximum range. So there it goes. Now let's. Next thing, we're going to lower this into the machine with.
So here, how far you got on that side? You're over the thingy on this side.
Am I over?
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, we'll use some smaller pins in that case.
Okay.
So, pins 3-inch in diameter for some reason did not work, so we're going to go to a smaller one. Maybe they were just mixed up in the fixture. So, and that's smaller. And that's smaller. And last one, that's smaller. Can't mix match the pins. If the pins are mix match, this is not going to be center. So we drop into the hole. We're going to go above where the piston rings were riding. So we actually have an accurate area. So right here at the surface. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the knob at the top, spreading the pins. And the machine will actually center itself. I'm going to drop it a little bit further down, right about there. And I'm going to continue on spreading it apart. So once the knob gets really nice and tight, that means it's centered. And the next step is going to be tying down the head so it doesn't move. For that, we can use 7/8 wrench. Not till it snaps off. Very important. It's been snapped off multiple times. So once it gets tight, a little bit more of a snug, and the The machine should not move. Then you can collapse the pins by loosening the collar at the top. Lift up the fixture out of the hole. See if the machine moves, which it doesn't. Pull the pins out, because they're not the cutting ones, they're only for centering. Alright, they're out. Put them back in the box. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so there is a couple different cutting fixtures. One of them looks like it has replaceable bits. The other one looks like it has resharpenable bits or pieces that you can repair or replace. So we're going to see which one fits. The opposite end is spring-loaded, so we can actually put it in there and see where we need it. But we're going to need to lift up a little bit higher and rotate it to an area where we're going to be working with. So the cutter actually goes right into this opening. And interesting, looks like it's tight. Let's find a wrench to loosen that up.
A little set screw. Oh.
Yeah. For some reason it's been pushed in there. So that goes in there, this goes in there, and it moves in and out. So our next step is going to be using this wonderful micrometer, set the size we need. So this particular micrometer shows it to you in thousandths of an inch and inches in general. So we're going to loosen it and we're going to turn this out. And as I remember correctly, our piston was 3 inch and 445 thousandths. We're going to go to 44 thousandths. So this is 3.5. Actually, where's 3.5? There is 3.5, 45, and 44. Once we're at 44, we're just going to lock this down. So how it's going to work is this micrometer fits into this opening and pushes on the cutter. Don't rotate it because you will scuff up the surface and it won't be as accurate.
Okie doke.
So let's see, does it want to fit? So rotate till it fits and put it in there, and it should hit the end. You just want to double check also that the cutter actually still has a spring load. This particular cutter does not have spring load, so therefore we're going to have to get the cutter out and we're going to have to adjust this spring a little bit back. So find the right Allen wrench for that. Looks like it's this one. Loosen that and push that spring a little bit in. Tighten that up. Give it a try one more time. So now it should go in deeper into the machine. Let's double check.
Is that right?
You hear that? That's perfect. That's exactly what we want to hear. So now we're going to tighten this set screw.
Just a little bit,
So it doesn't move.
like that. Okay.
Sure.
You want to try it?
Sure, let's give it a try, just in case. I kind of like to use with a little bit more leverage.
Okay.
Yeah, that feels right.
Okay.
All right, then we're going to pull this out, and the cutter is actually set to that size.
All right.
So, the way the machine works, it is going to cut all the way down, and when it hits the bottom, there's a couple stops that you have to set. So, let me move all of my precision measurement tools out of the way, cutters out of the way, and come around the other side. Right. I'm just going to come around the other side. More space here. All right. So, the stopper is actually this thing right here.
Okay.
So if you loosen this up, it drops. The way it works is once it reaches the bottom, it will disengage the downward motion. So what we're going to do first is just leave this loose. So as the machine works its way down, we can find our happy home and tighten down the rod on the first pass. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it in the beginning. All right, with that said, let's take a look. We're going to need to plug this machine in. At least for some reason it's not plugged in, so let's come over here and plug this in. All right, the machine is plugged in. As a precaution, I'm actually going to go in and double check how's the cutter doing. So, to make sure that it's going to be in the right area. So we're going to bring this down. I'm going to rotate the machine gently. Yeah, it looks like it's going to cut right around.
Okay, so you're just eyeballing it, right?
Yeah, I'm just watching it to make sure that it cuts. Yeah, it looks like it's going to cut in the right area. So,
Okay.
Let's lift up on that. Let me take a look. It just seems like it was pretty big of a cut on the backside because it looks like the machine might not be as centered as I thought it was. Grab a flashlight. No, it should be fine. There. It's about the same. Yeah, it looks about the same. All right.
Okay.
So, safety glasses.
Here's a pair.
Yeah.
I got another set in here.
You have a pair?
Yeah, I'll grab one.
Right. So, cutter is set. Engine is set. Everything is pretty much right where it needs to be. We can grab a vacuum cleaner, not really necessary. Some people love it. Some people hate the noise of a vacuum cleaner. So a couple things. We're going to engage the cutter. So we're going to make the cutter spin. When we turn on the switch, the cutter doesn't spin. So what we're going to do is that in the process of the motor, right now the motor is spinning. As the motor starts to slow down or stop, we're going to engage. So now when I restart the motor, the cutter is going to spin. So we're going to start it, and right now it's spinning at slow speed, which is very good for cast iron blocks. Next, we're going to engage the auto feed. The way the auto feed is engaged is just push that lever, and it's going to go in, and it's going to automatically feed the cutter down, down, and down. Let me speed up so I take up the air gap. There it goes, no air gap anymore.
Fence is clean.
And watch, you still gotta look for the same hole.
Getting close.
And when this thing goes down, over there, it should really disengage.
Oh, I see.
So now we're actually stopped, and in order for it to go back up, ideally would be to bring the cutter, so you can rotate till you see the cutter down there. You can line up the cutter directly with the front,
Okay. All right.
which is down, you want to take a look? There's the cutter all the way down at the front.
All right.
And then,
Oh, look, there's a little.
yeah, so you want to line that up. And this little arrow right here actually tells you where the cutter is. Next thing is gonna get it, how to get it back up. If I remember correctly, this needs to, no, actually this needs to stay engaged. And there's a button on this side. There's a button on the machine right here. This should retract when you disengage this. And all it does is brings the machine all the way up. Once it reaches max, it's reached the maximum travel, and it's there. That's very interesting that something actually got unscrewed. It's okay, we can put some Loctite on that.
Okay.
So now we can actually flip the machine switch on, off, so it turns off. So the cutter is out of the hole. The next step is gonna be move the machine, and if you have multiple cylinders, if you have 4, it's gonna be ideal to do kind of like chess game, so that the engine doesn't heat up too much, because this does heat up the engine block. So the last step is gonna be getting the cutter out. You can leave the cutter in there, but don't forget, every hole you have to center it and do the cutter. So just for moving, we're gonna rotate it and remove the cutter. So every hole, just because we have to center the machine, we have to, wrong Allen wrench, we have to remove the cutter. So make sure you're holding on to the cutter, otherwise it's gonna fly out of there. Great.
Awesome.
The other idea, best thing to do is not to cut more than 10 thousandths at a time, so you don't put too much strain on the cutter or the machine. And the cutters with replaceable bits are much, much better, just because you can replace bits very easily and not worry about it. And if I remember correctly, these are double-sided bits, so there's 6 bits that we can use.
Oh, very good.
With that said, last thing is going to be loosen up the machine. This one set screw, loosen it up and move it out of the way. And you can take a look inside the hole and see how it's done.
Cool. Wanna look?
So,
Awesome.
and you can continue doing another one and another one.
Can I do one?
Sure.
Okay.